All from his puissance born was now undone. All that had been created by Ashwapati had been undone, eliminated from the scene. Nothing remained the cosmic mind conceives. What the universal creation, creative spirit had conceived and created, nothing was allowed to remain of it. Eternity prepared to fade and seemed a hue and imposition on the void. Even eternity, which strikes as something permanent behind the changes of time, here looks like fading, and it seems as if it has been a kind of complexion, color, and something imposed on the void, on the vacancy. If eternity was an imposition, space was the fluttering of a dream that sank before its ending into nothing's deeps. Space itself was fluttering, vibrating, like something of a dream, before sinking in the depths of nothingness. The spirit that dies not, and the Godhead self seemed myths projected from the unknowable. In our creation, spirit is cherished as something immortal that does not die. Similarly, God's self, Atman, is considered immutable. But on this level of experience, both the spirit and the self appear to be myths without any substance, thrown out from a reality that is unknowable. From it all sprang, in it call to cease. From this unknowable, everything blossomed, and in that unknowable, everything is called back. But what that was, no thought or sight could tell. He could see that it was something. But what was that? What was that unknowable? No thought of him, no vision, no sight could tell for certain. Only a formless form of self was left. Mark the expression formless form. It was a form, and yet it was formless. That is, one could feel there is something, but there was no outline that we associate with form. A tenuous ghost of something that had been, all the creation that had been. Now what he is seeing, what he is face to face with, is a slender ghost of what he had been and what he had seen. the last experience of a lapsing wave before it sinks into a boundless sea. In the sea, you have seen many waves rise, but before it lapses into the sea and disappears from the sight, there is a vague, tenuous ghost. That is a very slender outline, as if it kept even on the brink of naught its bare feeling of the ocean whence it came. That is, the wave, lapsing wave, even when it is sinking, disappearing on the border of nothingness, non-existence, still it preserves the feeling that it is a wave of the sea. And that is the experience of Ashwapati. That what he had been, what he had seen, cannot be entirely forgotten, even in the presence of this nothingness. A vastness brooded free from the sense of space. There is a vastness, and yet there is no sense of space. We always associate space with extension, but here is a vastness which broods, dwells upon itself, free from a sense of space, an everlastingness cut off from time. There is no time here, there is no touch of time, but it is only something everlasting, a strange, sublime, unalterable peace, silent, rejected from it, world and soul. The peace of that nothingness, the silence of that nothingness rejects the existence of the world and the soul. It is as if the world and the soul do not exist. A stark, companionless reality answered at last to his soul's passionate search. His search, intense search of his soul for the reality, for the ultimate, is answered finally by this reality which is stark, that is bare, nude, companionless. There is no other. It is the only thing that exists. Passionless, no feeling, wordless, no expression, absorbed in its fathomless hush, keeping the mystery none would ever pierce, the secret of its existence, preserving that mystery which none can pierce, analyze, describe. It brooded inscrutable and intangible. This reality broods, dwells upon itself meditatively, inscrutable, unanalyzable, intangible, can't be felt, can't be sensed. Facing him, Ashwapati, with its dumb, tremendous calm. It is a calm with its mute, doesn't articulate, doesn't speak, and something tremendous, overwhelming. It had no kinship with the universe. This calm, this reality had no relation with this universe. There was no act, no movement in its vast. Life's question, met by its silence, died on her lips. The question that life asks, what's the meaning? Where am I going? That was met by absolute silence from this reality, and it died on the lips of life itself. The world's effort ceased, convicted of ignorance, finding no sanction of supernal light. At that level, Ashwapati finds that this effort of the world to exist has been condemned by its own ignorance. It does not find a sanction to be by the supernal light. There was no mind there with its need to know. Where there is a mind, mind wants to know. But here, there is no mind at all. Mind has died long ago. There was no mind there with its need to know. There was no heart there with its need to love. The innate nature of heart is to love. And at this level, there is no heart either. Heart has been left behind. So there is nothing to feel the need to love. All person perished in its namelessness. This reality is impersonal, nameless. So, a person, an individualized person, simply perishes in that impersonality on this level. There was no second. It had no partner or peer. Peer means of like status. Only itself was real to itself. There was nothing else. Only that. And that was real to itself. There was no other. A pure existence, safe from thought and mood, a consciousness of unshared immortal bliss. There is nothing to share with. It dwelt aloof, this pure existence, this consciousness, this bliss. Call it Satchidananda. It dwelt aloof in its bare infinite, one and unique, unutterably soul. You can't even call it soul, single, unique, a being formless, featureless and mute. This ultimate being was formless, without form, without features, mute, not articulate, silent, that knew itself by its own timeless self. There was no mind with which it could know, but it could know itself by itself. by identity. Aware forever in its motionless depths. It does not mean that it was inert, unconscious. On the other hand, it was aware, self-aware, forever in its motionless depths, uncreating, uncreated, unborn. That being not only does not create, but it has not been created either. There is no thing as birth for it. The one by whom all live, who lives by none. This is a famous epigram. The one by whom all live, but who lives by none. An immeasurable luminous secrecy, an unbounded luminous mystery, guarded by the veils of the unmanifest. It is veiled, and each veil holds something that has not been manifested. Above the changing cosmic interlude, the whole cosmos looks as if it is an interlude, an interval between absorption and creation. Above the changing cosmic interlude, abode supreme, immutably the same, a silent cause, occult, not patent, impenetrable, inscrutable, infinite, eternal, unthinkable, alone. So this is the ultimate reality which transcends all language, all experience, all effort of the mind to grasp, in the presence of which the whole cosmos is felt as if it never existed really, but always the same, always unchanged, rejecting all change. It is the one by whom all live, who lives by none. Now, this is the ultimate experience of Ashwapati in his ascent to the source of things. He is face to face with something, with one being which rejects all becoming, to whom creation itself is an interlude between one moment and another. Absorption, extinction seems to be the final truth. What exists is an interlude between two extinctions. In the face of this experience, all that Ashwapati has thought, experienced and lived, it falls away from him, and The worlds in which he has lived, they fade away. His person, his soul itself is as if it has never been there. And at this moment, when he is alone with the alone, he steps into the next movement, which is the theme of the next canto, adoration of the Divine Mother, which we'll take up next time.